friends, today we are going to read an interesting chapter. So let's start. That is Monday Morning Blues. Monday morning always found Tom Sawyer miserable because with it began another week's slow suffering in school. Tom lay in bed and thought, if I were sick, I could stay away from school and go fishing. He thought further about it. But despite all his attempts to detect some symptoms, he could not find anything wrong with himself. His hopes began to fail. Suddenly he discovered something. One of his upper front teeth was loose. He decided to use it as an excuse for not going to school. He was about to start mourning. He remembered that if his aunt came to know, she would pull it out and that would hurt. So he decided to use the tooth as an excuse some other day. He went back to thinking of some other way to fake illness. He remembered hearing the doctor describe an illness that had caused a patient to lose a finger. The boy eagerly drew his sore toe from under his cheek and held it up for inspection. It seemed worthwhile to chance it. So he fell groaning on the bed. But Sid, who lay in the next bed, slept on. Tom groaned louder, but no result from Sid. Finally he got up, shook Sid hard and then went back to his bed groaning. Sid yawned, stretched and then brought himself upon his elbow with a snort and began to stare at Tom. Tom went on groaning. "Tom's, what's going on?" asked Sid, frightened by the noise Tom was capable of producing. No response. "Hey, Tom! Tom! What is the matter, Tom?" Tom moaned out. "Oh, don't Sid, don't juggle me, but I must. Don't groan like that, Tom. It's awful. How long have you been groaning this way?" "Hours." "Oh, don't Sid, I am dying." "No, Tom, you ain't dying. It makes my flesh crawl to hear you. What is the matter?" "I must call Auntie." "I forgive you everything, Sid," said Tom in a fresh bout of groans. "When I am gone, you give my window sash and my cat with one eye to that new girl who's come to the town and tell her." But Sid had flown downstairs and informed Aunt Polly. "Come quick, Auntie. Tom's dying." "What rubbish! I don't believe it." But the poor lady hurried upstairs with Sid and Mary at her heels. Her face grew white and her lips trembled. "What's the matter with you, Tom?" she cried. "Oh, Auntie, my toe." "What is the matter with your toe?" "Oh, Auntie, my sore toe is going to fall off." The old lady sank down in a chair with relief. She laughed a little, then cried a little. Then did both together. This made her feel better. She said, "Tom, you really did frighten me. Now you stop this nonsense and get out of your bed." Tom felt foolish at his act now that he was caught. He said, "Auntie, my toe hurt so much that I wasn't worried about my tooth at all." "What's What's the matter with your tooth? Well, one of them's loose and it itches awfully. Open your mouth and let me see, said his auntie. Yes, it is loose. All right, but you are not going to die because of that. Mary, get me a silk thread and a chunk of fire out of the kitchen. Tom said, Oh, please, auntie, don't pull it out. It doesn't hurt me any more, please. Don't, auntie. I don't want to stay home from school. Oh, you do, don't you? So all this drama was because you thought you would get to stay home from school and go fishing. Tom, I love you so much, but I'm very unhappy with you. You seem to try every way you can to break my old heart with your outrageousness. By this time, the dental instruments were ready. The old lady fastened one end of the silk thread to Tom's tooth with a loop and tied the other to the bedpost. Then she seized the chunk of fire and suddenly thrust it almost into the boy's face. The tooth hung, dangling by the bedpost now. Written by Mark Twain. Simplified. Thank you, friends.